Okay,
Oh,
are we on? Test, there we are. Hello, everybody. So we're continuing our meeting. We just had a delegation for information purposes, from Shannon Cormier at the hospital, or from the hospital, the CEO of the hospital, doing her, listening tour with our council members. So, we're continuing the council meeting. So we already went through the land acknowledgement, and the delegation. So now we're on number 2. Are there any addendum to the agenda? Nope. Number 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest. We don't have any pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we're moving on to item number 4, approval of previous council minutes. So this is the minutes from May 13th, 2025. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about those minutes as they are written?
No.
Okay, so who would like to move the approval of the minutes? Move. Okay, Councillor Cartwright and seconded by Councillor Westhaver. So this is resolution 2025-126, moved by Councillor Cartwright, seconded by Councillor Westhaver. Be it resolved that this council approves the regular council meetings from May 13th, for meeting minutes from May 13th, 2025 as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, next we have the Recreation Committee meeting minutes, the draft form of these minutes. So does anyone have any comments or anything about these minutes? So I was at the meeting as the council rep, so I can answer any questions. Just to update everybody, the youth baseball has been canceled. I don't know if anyone saw the notification about that, but there was another push for the youth baseball. I think there were nine kids who were registered in T-ball and like 9 or 10 in softball or something. You obviously can't make leagues with those numbers. So unfortunately, that's it's not happening. So we're trying to put our heads together and figure out how to solve that for next year. I'm just wondering if there's anything else here. Dodgeball also has since been canceled. There was notification of that as well, the dodgeball tournament. And the canteen, the post for the canteen operator went out as well. Okay. I don't think we have. We have a resolution for that one. Ours?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it's right here. You have an R and a highlight, so I just saw that. Okay, so the Single Track Society, we should just take that one off then, I guess, because that's been canceled, the dodgeball. Okay. Okay, so who would like to move the approval of the minutes with the recommendation, the second recommendation, Councillor Harper? Okay, and seconded by Councillor Hart. So this is resolution 2025-127, moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Hart. Be it resolved that this council receives the draft May 12, 2025 Recreation Committee minutes and authorizes the following as recommended by the committee. That council supports a trial run of amending the NCC operating hours for the summer months from 7 a.m. to 10 and to 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, next we have number 6, a draft EDC meeting minutes from May 14th, 2025. Does anyone have any questions about that? Looks like Councillor Hart and Councillor Cartwright were both there. We also have, of course, our new EDO, welcome, Brianna, here to answer any questions as well, but we also have a report from her too. Any comments on that? I just want to make a comment about Marina Ice Trail expansion. I mean, I understand what the idea is there, and it's a nice environment and everything to have a skating trail. My personal opinion is that we should just focus on the winter, I'm trying to think of the word assets, the winter assets that we already have. So we have the Nip Rock Trail that is currently used in the winter for hiking. That could be used also for snowshoeing and promoted as such, which it's currently not. We also have the skating trail, that's gonna be at the arena, which I think they're trying again. Cause it was very successful, and also the cross-country ski trails. So those are really great assets that I think we should focus on supporting more than trying to come up with new stuff that's gonna cost us, more resources and more money. That's just my opinion. Also the lack of facilities down there for, I think I've talked about this before, but for warming up, for food and all that kind of bathrooms, there's nothing down there in that vein. So I just feel like it might be something that we have to think about more carefully when we consider what we're putting our resources, our finances into. The Blueberry Blast, I think there was a question in there about trying to figure out a way to, or just ideas for gathering, the gate flow and tracking guest attendance. The best way to do that, in my experience, is to have somebody at a desk, which I think that, or at a table, which I think they normally have, but to have like a substantial free draw that people can put their names into, any age, and then you get a good idea of your numbers. And if you have sections where they're from, you can get idea if you're getting anybody from out of town, or if it's just local traffic coming through too. So that's a good way to do it. So I don't, there's no fee, right, to get in, it's
No,
free, so.
And that's what's taking
Yeah.
place the past couple of years. We have really good numbers for
Mhm.
keeping track of who's there and coming in. One of the bigger things that came out of the Blueberry Blast Festival was potential for picking up a couple of, oh yeah. Forgot these things exist. Is to bring in something where people in wheelchairs or scooters can get down off the curb, because it's a long drive around and stuff if you're up on the sidewalk to try to find a curb to break and go around. That was just one of the ideas that came up, is because you can buy these little rubber ramps and stuff to actually help with that for events, and they can be moved around depending on if you have an event in another location as well. So.
I think that, sorry, a couple more thoughts. In regards to what maybe could be discussed in the next little while at the meetings. I know Nipigon Day, is gonna come up fast, that's November 17th. That, and I forget where I heard this from, but I heard people talking about how that should be really built on this year. Whether that's like promotions in stores, just getting people really excited. I don't know, like what kind of events happening. It depends on what day of the week it's happening on. I think last year it was a Sunday, so not really a lot of stuff you can do on a Sunday, where people are around, but yeah, if that's something that can be looked at, and then shop local, ideas. I know that the shop local thing that was done years ago at Christmas time with the little passport, when the chamber was active, that was really fun for people and got people out to different businesses, and was exciting for the business owners as well as for the people that were touring around, and might be something to be able to attract people from out of town in the winter time, which I know is something that the MAT committee is really working towards. So that's something I think that these things take months to prepare sometimes, so if that's something that can start coming up in the dev meetings, that would be pretty cool. Yeah. those are good opportunities for sure. But everything's looking good. Okay, so. Oh, and so we also have a, oh, that's from the staff report.
This one other thing on this one.
What's up?
Okay, with the posts that are brought in and the brochures can, be put out, or is that being looked at by anybody or? From Public
Oh,
Works?
for the history walk?
Yeah. I think you put, you know.
I feel like in the past that was kind of overseen by the museum.
Oh, yeah.
We know about that? Like, was that like something that Betty had?
It was overseen by the museum, but a lot of, the museum ideas are to go ahead and, try to like refurbish them all and actually add some potentially. Whereas the person involved here was more like just refurbish the ones that are already out there. But, one of the concerns brought up is there used to be a brochure produced that actually showed them. And, you know, a little verbiage on each one, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they don't exist anymore. There's probably a copy or two somewhere that could be reproduced relatively easily. And then that would give you that. But that's also not, you know, putting something like that on the website for that as well, something where, you know, a little more modern ad. But to utilize the existing ones that are already there and just fix them up.
Mm.
You okay?
Yeah, good.
Another person, okay. And Marie?
I'd like to focus in the near future a little bit more on the wayfinding and putting new signage at both of the entrances into the community, letting people know that it's not just
You're not on
that it's not just like an industry down here, that there's actually stores and restaurants and whatnot down here. Cause it just is business district, but I think people just drive right past that thinking that's, you know, industry or the M&R or something. I don't think they realize that there are shops and restaurants down here. So that's one thing was encouraged that we look at. Is the signage.
I think that's something that, I know further on, where we have minutes from the MAT meeting. From the MAT committee meeting, so I think that's maybe something that might go in with the marketing and product development plan. Is the wayfinding and signage, cause that's,
Yeah.
It's definitely needed for sure, and I think there was mention in here, maybe I dreamt it, but mention about refreshing the billboards, like are beautiful, they're so beautiful, the one with the wood and everything, but, I find like the sailboat one, that's kind of a niche thing to do, and you need a sailboat to ride a sailboat here. And we don't rent sailboats, and we like not a bunch of people have sailboats and things like that, so maybe it's something to, you know, have a picture of our lookout tower or something there, or have a picture of someone shopping or something like that, like something that's more a call to action that people that are just driving down the highway could actually do, you know what I mean? Same with the ice climbing one, it's a beautiful picture, and ice climbing is really cool, but again, it's a niche thing that people need to have thousands of dollars in equipment, and they're not just driving down the highway going, oh, let's stop here and climb, ice climb or rock climb. It's something that can be direct marketed for like these niche target audiences, but if you're just driving down the highway, you want people to come and stop, and then again, they're not stopping to ice climb or sailboat. So if that's something that can be looked at, with, you know, in collaboration with the EDC as well as the marketing plan and the, product development plan, I think that would be good, something not to rush into, cause it's gonna have to take some careful thought and consideration to what you wanna put in those, cause they're expensive to redo and everything, so. Okay, anything else? Really good discussion points in the EDC. Okay, and next we have a council report, from Brianna Bell, our new EDO here, and this is a recommendation, to, bring back the Trails Subcommittee. That was dissolved over, COVID. So does anyone have any, it was quite a wonderful, complete, detailed report. Does anyone have any questions for Brianna about this? Or concerns? Counselor Hart?
When the trail committee was active, they barely met.
Well, that's good to know going forward, hopefully it be underneath the EDC, it would be more touched upon.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
if it's meant to be EDC, it should be, you know, a little more. Instead of once every 6 or 8 months.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's a recommendation in this report. So we have a resolution to accept the report, to receive the report, and a recommendation to reactivate the Trails Subcommittee. So do we have a mover for this one? Counselor Westhaver. And a seconder,
I-
Counselor Hart. So this is resolution 2025-128, moved by Counselor Westhaver, seconded by Counselor Hart. Be it resolved that this council receives staff report 2025-05-2701 for information, and that council approve the reactivation of the Trails Subcommittee under the Economic Development Committee and direct staff to pursue funding opportunities, partnerships, and development strategies to enhance trail-based recreation and tourism with a maximum net cost to the township of $25,000. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay. All right, next is number 7A, our CAO staff report, 2025-05-2702. Okay, maybe Lauren, do you wanna just maybe present the report a little bit, give us some polls notes here?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. So with this report, council, staff have been going through and just kind of reviewing some of our marketing materials, and we did pass formally the branding back at the end of 2024, just to kind of make it solidified and create a process of how we could share it. And create an alternate use, which was the accessible on a dark scale. However, a lot of our accessory advertisements and media is a bit outdated, so this would be just to kind of update all of these together, bring more into a modern time. So it's not to change the logo per se, but all of the accessory branding, like our marketing materials, our billboards, and see where we can bring more people into the community. That would also be all our brochures, and then the second piece of it is also it's the kind of the accessory part of the website. So if we want to create a tourism part of our website where it's like Nippigan.net/stay, where we have more of a travel part, that would be kind of under this umbrella of scope of project, where we would do also all the other new design on the website to just give it a more updated look. So with this, we'd be recommending 10,000 this year and 15,000 next year, up to. We have received a few quotes back. And I mean, the council has a number that they feel more comfortable with, by all means, let us know. But this is, we're thinking that we would have quite a bit of wiggle room with this budget. So.
Counselor Hart?
When you see something like a lot of the communities going with the split websites and stuff for regular business and for tourism. So, the implementation of something like a Nippigan.net/stay actually gives you a shorter, cheaper route to that, because you could conceivably make the /stay a completely different website. The way the system works, so you wouldn't incur all those costs of actually developing a full-on new dedicated website to it. And it's something that just rolls off the tongue, and the URL is small enough. And, you know, it means a lot to a lot of people, just Nippigan.stay, yeah. It's could potentially be a good money-saving method.
And I'm just looking with websites and municipalities versus tourism, it's a different audience, right? So that's the issue that we run into with trying to make a website that's for the people that live here, that need to know, you know, what are the landfill hours? How do I get my dog license paid for? What are the hours of the municipal, all that stuff, versus like a tourist that comes through here and looks on our website and goes, what is going on? I don't need to know all this stuff, right? So just clicking on that visit button and then going to like Terrace Bay has their municipal website. And then if you click on their separate tourism site, it looks totally different. It's got beautiful pictures of the businesses and the like the trails or whatever they have there. It's a different audience, right? So I think that's a really good idea to have it sort of a separate page that visitors can go to where they don't have to go through a bunch of
Right.
blah, 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 to get to what the businesses.
Yeah.
Like the restaurants, the shops, the hotels and the attractions. That's what they wanna see and they wanna get to it fast. So I think that's a good idea. And our branding is getting older now. I still like the logo, but the branding was done about 15 years ago with the lines and all that stuff. What I'd like to see through the branding too is, a template for our official announcements that we write up. Like, the water being flushed or I'm trying to think of some other, like the landfill hours are changing, that kind of stuff. I find that if it's like an official informational announcement, to have a look and feel with our logo and without any kind of clutter, like, or pictures and things like that, if we have something, and then for those things, and then something different for more fun things, like, but still have a template. Cause I find sometimes our posters look completely, like, the color scheme, sometimes they have a logo, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have, I'm just gonna pick one out of my mind that was the spring cleanup poster that was like written in cursive and was like blue and green and all that, and I couldn't even barely read it. I didn't really know what it was. You know what I mean? Like those kinds of notices should be super clear and simple, right? Whereas stuff that's like, come on out and see the opening of the splash pad. Well, yeah, that can be a little more vibrant and creative. Is that, you know, guys know what I mean? Do you
Oh,
agree with
yes.
that? Have you noticed that a little bit? Yeah.
All too well.
Yeah, yeah. So if that can be part of the branding where we have sort of what we do for announcements, like technical stuff, and then what we do for fun, like fun or community stuff, trying to attract kids to come out to softball and stuff like that. It's a little different.
Something else to add to that.
Is there any possible way people can sign up for emails?
Yeah, just, Counselor Hart was gonna go in and.
There should also be in addition to that, there's some sort of, when you post these things to social media, there has to be a standardized system for posting to social media. A lot of the town stuff goes out as pictures, which means you can't search for it. So there are things that just get lost, because if you go search for something, Winter Carnival this year, it was pictures. If you search for Winter Carnival Nipigon, you came out with last year's information. I'm just, because
Sharing a PDF.
you're sharing an image file with no text. So a simple move of putting text with it.
You mean like text above the
Yes.
poster, like saying, oh, check this
Yeah,
out?
this is what I mean, like if you have a standardized social media or posting parameters in all the departments and stuff, then you kind of eliminate that and you get the maximum usage of it.
Counselor Westhaver, you were asking about
Yeah.
email.
Yeah, I was just wondering how hard it is to have some kind of notice, even in the Gazette too, if anybody wants updates for things and that are going on in town. If they could be on a auto email. And rather than attaching it to our website.
Do we have like a MailChimp system or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that there was, the staff was trying to get people to maybe sign up for email. Well, we have newsletters that are going out now, right? Which is fantastic. Yeah. So do people sign up for that through emails or how does that work?
Yeah, the system that we have, it's like stay in touch. When you go on our website, you can click on that and any notice you'll get an email for. And then there's other pages, like if you want procurement bids, you can click on that, subscribe, and then there's a few other separate.
Okay.
But for the newsletter, that would be in our our general main one, so then you would be able to just click on that and that's where you get it.
Just click follow.
Yeah, and then we were doing a push for bills for water. We got quite a few out of that one, and so we're probably doing another push as well later.
I didn't even know we're staying touch. You see that?
Oh, you need to stay in touch.
It's the same thing. Okay, So the report, that's all that was in the
Yeah.
the report, okay. So everyone seems to be okay with that
Yeah.
recommendation, okay. So who would like to move this one, this resolution?
I will.
Approve that, Councillor Hart, seconded by, Councillor Cartwright. So this is resolution 2025-129, moved by Councillor Hart, seconded by Councillor Cartwright. Be it resolved that this council receives report number 2025-052702 for information. And that council approves staff to procure graphic design services up to $25,000 with cost split between 2025 and 2026 to upgrade the township's marketing materials, digital media, and advertisements. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay. Oh, the fun stuff, bylaws. Okay. So this, the first one that we have is the building permit bylaw. And then we have the revised fees and charges bylaw, and those are under one resolution. So does anyone have any questions for CEO Moffett on either of those? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Just a note for council too, there's in the building permit bylaw, that was a pretty deep overhaul on that. So there was really no formal process if you didn't get a permit, what would happen? Like, so say you build without a permit. So the new process is that the fee is double if you build without a permit. But there's a bit more transparency as far as, what you don't need a permit for. So if you go through the fee schedule at the very bottom, there's actually the things that you don't need a permit. Just for clarification as well.
And this is the, so the permit fees too, this is what we talked about at the town hall, meeting. Where we're looking at, charging for, building fees by the square footage as opposed to by the cost. To keep the building permits lower and some of these, it makes some of the building permits like half the price, right, 50%. So we're just hoping that that can be our part in helping to encourage new investment and new building. So yeah, this is very detailed, well done. Okay, do we have a mover for these two bylaws? Yeah, Councillor, you like that, Councillor Staver? Perfect, you can move it. Seconded by Councillor Hay. Okay, resolution 2025-130, moved by Councillor Westhaver, seconded by Councillor Harbour. Be it resolved that this council gives 3 readings and approves the following bylaws. Bylaw number 1987, being a bylaw respecting construction, demolition, and change of use permits and inspections in the township of Nipigon. Bylaw number 1988, being a bylaw to impose and continue fees for the township of Nipigon for the use of its property. All in favor? Opposed? And carried.
Did have one question, just.
Go ahead.
Not gonna change my number. I saw that there was in the plans, or that's the section, a list of plans, there, everything says 2 sets, do you know why we need 2 sets?
One is for our records, one for the CBO.
Oh, okay,
So then if they have a copy, because our CBO works at Thunder Bay, they would have a copy and then we would have one for our records in the property file.
all right.
Okay. Next, under D, memo to municipalities, OBP cost recovery model review. So, I like to think this is my doing, because I just sent a request for delegation to talk to the Solicitor General about the potential rise in levy for the OPP service in 2026. And then within 2 days, we got this back. Thank me. No, it had nothing to do with me, I'm sure. But this is just for information. Basically, they're just saying that they promised to have a, what is it, a consultant looking into, I know it's way down here. Did I miss it? No, no, there, nope, that's, sorry. Wait a second now. I think I'm past it. Anyway, is that
Page 43 of,
Page
page 43, 44? Sorry, guys. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that? It's just for information. So the Solicitor General is pleased to announce that the review has been initiated. They've announced a commitment to review the OPP cost recovery model. As you might recall, we received a bill from the OPP in 2025 that was 18% higher than, which was what, 86,000? And we're normally charged an extra 4,000 or 5,000 every year. So everyone is concerned about that, and so they're looking into it now. So we'll see what happens. It says that engagement webinars will take place in June 2025. So hopefully when you find out when those are, let us know. Okay, next we have recommended changes to landfill tipping fees. Did you want to say anything about this one?
What, how big blast?
So, and apologies to this. Staff were off on holidays last week, so it's time to get everything together. But we did do a review, at council's request for all of the local fees, tipping. So we compared Terrace Bay, Red Rock, Shibney, and Anacoga, and their fees are included in their report. Their breakdown, if you go on their websites to take a look, it's a little bit different. They don't kind of go as deep of a breakdown as we do in some cases. So that's why there's some pieces missing. But overall, we reviewed our rates and we kind of came up with some thoughts and recommendations of how we'd like to proceed. Overall, most of them, with exception of two, are looking to change. And our recommendation at this point is for them to come into effect August 1st to give a bit of notice. So there would be preferably notice at the landfill and local media outlets, the township website, Facebook, but also give them some time because not everyone's going to go to the landfill next week. And then from there, additionally, another recommendation would be to put in the landfill card system. Other communities use this. I came from a community that did, and I saw that it was quite successful. It's you essentially, there's no question of who owns the property. And simply, if you have a tenant, if they have the same address as that property, on their driver's license, then it's pretty clear. So it's a really easy way to track everything, and then if you have non-compliance or you have people that are coming, I mean, then it's easy to track an event. And we just would amend the card and we would transfer an ownership. So it would take about $1,500 to $5,000 to do this project, depending on what we want to do, if it's plastic cards or paper. But overall, I think that'd be a recommended good way to go. And then from there, I know there was some discussion on if council wants to take hazardous waste from outside sources. So in the report, there's some recommendations to not effective August 1st. And then as of December or January 1st, 26th, I guess there's this council discretion whether or not you want to continue offering landfill services to people outside of the township. The cards will help you to actually make that possible. So it's up to you folks how you want to proceed.
Right?
I like it a lot better than the last one.
Yeah. An improvement on the last one. That's what.
Just one,
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Westever.
yeah, with the tipping fees, like for a half load or a half ton, if that doesn't apply to residents who have to haul their own garbage, right?
For household garbage, like, no. So in the, I think at the top, just above, Nippigan residents do not pay tipping fees for regular household garbage, including tires and metal.
Oh, there. Just turned it down, this is,
Okay,
missed it.
okay, so who would like to move this resolution? Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Westever. So this is resolution 2025-131, moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Westever. Be it resolved that this council receive staff report 2025-05-2703 for information, and that council receives and approves the proposed landfill fees as presented and authorize staff to provide notice of these fees coming to effect on August 1st, 2025, with the final bylaw being brought to the next council meeting for consideration. And that the township create and distribute landfill cards for all property owners in the township. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay, so now we're on to sundries. So A is a request to sponsor Red Rock Indian Band traditional an annual gathering. I don't know what we have donated in the past, but I donate to these types of situations about $250.
I don't remember that.
I think it was 500. I made sure. Is there any discussion on what you'd like to, Counselor Harper?
You go first.
I think, the 250 was kind of a normal thing, right? That's
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we did last year, but I know we kind of want to make things consistent with what
Mhm.
we're giving to events
Yeah,
and
different groups.
yeah, so Counselor Hart.
The things to think about too, and I don't know if the CAO know, like what we have is potential for MAT funding to be able to put towards something like this, because these events are what put people in hotels.
Mhm.
Especially large ones like this one. This one is a large local event. It might not be in Nipigon, but it's right there.
Mhm. Okay, anything else? So are we good with the $250 now? Okay.
Any more?
Okay, so who would like to move this one? Counselor Harper. Seconded by Counselor Westhaver. Resolution 2025-132, moved by Counselor Harper, seconded by Counselor Westhaver. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Nipigon provides $250 in support to the Obobushkinning traditional annual gathering held by Red Rock Indian Band from July 18th to 20th, 2025. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, next, we just have for information, the Superior Country Voter Advisory Group meeting from May 14th, 2025. So these are the meeting notes from that. And this is just for information. And I was there with my Superior Country hat on, as was our EDO, Brianna. So if anyone has any questions or more comments about that. Just for information. Okay, and the next one is the IESO Nipigon Generating Station. Maybe you can explain, is this funding for like OPG for the Cameron Falls? Okay, so maybe you can explain that a little bit, please.
Yeah, the ISO pushed for a lot of the hydroelectric dams across Ontario to enter into the agreements. So when they were looking at their models of, needing 80% or 70% extra power in 2050, they were, part of that consideration was that they have to re-enter into these agreements with the current electric dams. And by putting them with upgrades, that they get more wattage and power out of them. So they just entered into a new agreement with OPG for that site. And a lot of them, there was a notice from the province back in January of 25 that said that they were gonna be putting funds into these dams to get them up to snuff and to generate more power.
Awesome, okay. Thank you, and once again, that was just for information, so does anyone have any comments on that? Okay, and the next is the Superior Country Nipigon MAT Steering Committee meeting. I think this was the first meeting to happen, and I think that Counselor Hart, without your counselor hat on, was there. And our EDO was there as well. So if anyone has any questions, again, this is just for information. It's an arm's length committee, so we don't approve minutes or anything like that. This is in our package, just so we know what's been discussed in regards to that. So if we have any questions or anything. Okay. Okay. Oh, we do have a resolution for that one?
There's a request for money for that, Mark.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
So it's not to approve the minutes, but there's a request for
That was
To do
supposed to go to
marketing.
EDC.
yeah.
Do you want to fumble it back?
That's what I'm not sure about.
I mean, I'm okay. I didn't realize that this was in here, so I should probably declare pecuniary interest on this one, just because it involves money. So are you guys okay with do you wanna leave it here and approve it now or not, Glenn, or do you wanna defer it?
When's our next EDC meeting?
Do you know when the next CDC meeting is?
2 weeks now. Yeah,
And then when's the next council meeting after that?
the 10th. So it'd be before council meeting, that's actually up for discussion tonight, it's like,
Oh,
well, it would either, we could either do the meeting. Or that's not gonna do it, so.
Okay. I think discussing at the EDC would be beneficial first.
okay.
Yeah.
So we'll defer this one, resolution off to the
That
EDC
was-
meeting.
That was my opinion, like when we were talking about it was,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no problem. Then I don't have to step it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have read your Rs and your highlights. Even when you highlight an R, I still. Okay. The next one is the declaration of June as Pride Month in Nipigon. So June 1st marks the beginning of Pride Month. So who would like to move this resolution? Counselor Westaver, seconded by Counselor Cartwright. So this is resolution 2025-134, moved by Counselor Westaver, seconded by Counselor Cartwright. Be resolved that the council of the township of Nipigon declares June being Pride Month. All in favor? Opposed? And carried?
I think that's Canada-wide, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty well recognized, but I actually noticed that I don't think we ever declared, it said it
No, we have.
on the AI when I searched it. I can't remember if we officially declared it, but I think we
think
did
we have.
before. Yeah.
You and I raised the
Yeah.
flag.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
the other part of that too is, we do have an updated flag now with the pink, triangle on it. Before it's just been the straight
Right.
rainbow, but we have the transgender area of the flag that is pink that we can raise, and I'm wondering, so I'm wondering if maybe we can do, like a flag raising on Friday afternoon sometime, either after. I have two things going on that day, we could do around like 12 o'clock or 12:30, something like that. And I think normally, Public Works will come with the flag and put the flag up, and maybe we could just post something on Facebook to say, come out, whatever time it is. Come out for the flag raising of
What
Pride, this Friday, cause it's June 1st, which is, starting as June 1st, which is
Sunday.
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 So if we do it on the 30th, then that will work, I think.
Yeah.
And also I have, those lawn signs, Pride Lives Here signs, I
Yeah.
have 5 of those if anyone wants one. Anyone here or anyone who's out there in, Zoom land. Wants one, just let me know, and I have 5 of them if they want them for their yard. It says Pride Lives Here with the little rainbow on it. Okay. I don't think we have anything planned for Pride Month, but that might be something else too for the EDC to look at, planning for next year. Doing some events in that, along that vein. Okay. Next, we have number 9, Committee of Adjustment 2025-0514 COA meeting minutes. And we don't have a resolution for that one, I don't think, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for that one? It was pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah. Okay. All right, any other business or the confirmatory bylaws after closed session? So any other business? So we'll start with Counselor Cartwright. Do you have any other business?
No.
Counselor Westaver? No.
You,
Okay. Counselor Harper? Counselor Hart?
One of the things that came about the discussion at the arm's length MAC committee was the not necessarily uptaking for the weight room and stuff at the arena, but the putting in a secondary keypad so that after hours use could be a potential draw for hotels and stuff who have the things. I know they might be expensive or something, but when was the last time we looked at doing something like that?
thank you for that. I just, I'll respond to that one if I may, because it did come up briefly at our recreation meeting, maybe the last meeting or the meeting before. The concern, I like that idea because it gives people the ability to go work out anytime. However, the concern for that is that, those the codes get shared with people. So you're gonna get people that are not paying that are using. I know that happens in Red Rock. I've had people tell me that they do it in Red Rock. Because they have the keypad there, but also, the potential for people, again, to share that password and for the wrong people to get that password and to use the, building for sleeping in or doing drugs in or drinking in or what have you. And that's actually one of the reasons why we don't have these bathrooms used to be open till like 11 at night. So people, tourists or whatever that came through could come in and use the washrooms. But when I was working here, I found 2 people in the bathroom in the morning when I came in and it was terrifying. And they were up to no good. So that's kind of our concern and the rest and the staff's concern too, was that it would be really nice if everyone followed the rules and but sometimes isn't the way it always goes, so.
I'm just like, because Red Rock does have it and some of the other smaller communities do have it, there's always a risk. But what's the benefit risk analysis? And how often would something like that happen versus, I know that people will share them, yes, but a lot of them would be usually that are sharing them are teenagers and such that are probably just going to work out, to be honest. Most of them aren't going to be up to no good. There will be some, but then you implement cameras and stuff like that. There are ways of mitigating
Yeah.
risks.
We do have cameras in there, I think, but some,
Yeah.
windows are smashed, then we're looking at a couple $1,000s of repair and it's too late, right? So, or like sexual assaults or what, who knows, right? I don't know, it's just. If I was a female going there at 2 a.m, it would be nice, I mean, that would. You'd think you'd wanna be safe when you're going to work out, but perhaps with no attendant. Oh, that's one more thing, actually, sorry. A safety thing too is, when someone actually, had a heart attack in our gym once. And our attendant had to come in and use the defibrillator on them. If someone's in there working out alone and they have a heart attack, they're going to die. So that's another possibility too. Which, I mean, I don't know what our liability is there, but it's just not something that we'd want to happen. Or, they're trying to be a tough guy and they're doing their thing, there's no spotter and they. I don't know, maybe I'm like in my old age, I've become a
There's a liability,
negative Nelly, but it's,
there's a liability.
like Glenn said, I mean, you could go 10 years without having any issues at all. But you have an issue where someone walks in and there's a person dead underneath a dumbbell. And then it's, but it's something to consider for sure. It's like looking at the pros and cons of it all, right? Lars, do you have anything you wanna say?
2 things there. The first one is we just finished or we're finalizing the hazardous waste date. The set date is July 12th from 10 to 2. So we're just ironing out the fees and what we're gonna be accepting, at this point. But, that date has been set, so we're working with GFL on that, which,
What was that date again, Mark?
July 12th.
From 10 to 2.
Yeah.
And that's at the yard? Yeah. Public Works yard.
And so, yeah, we were finalizing that, that was today, so we'll put some notice out on that so people know. We have to go through the fees that they charge and kind of coordinate some of that. And then just a shout out, Guy Simmons is retiring this week. So thank you for all of his service for all the years and just wish him the best of retirement going forward.
Nice. Yeah, congratulations to Guy. I actually ran into him the other day and I asked him if he had any plans and he said, no, just going to camp. So it sounds like it's gonna be, he's looking forward to it. Friday?
Yeah, this week.
Oh.
I was gonna say,
He's gone already.
That's awesome. Congratulations to Guy. Okay, I have a couple of things. Just an update on the recruitment for a youth council member. So yeah, I looked at the resources that the AMO had sent out, and they were completely, I'm sorry, AMO, but useless. It was a bunch of stuff that had nothing to do with,
The real world.
recruiting, actually like helping to recruit kids. Anyways, so I did go to the high school and, talked to, some grade nines and talked to a class of grade tens as well. And, they seemed, attentive at least, and asking, they had some questions to ask. And, it looks like we've got two young ladies who are interested in applying. And I talked to Mark Biglamini as well, from Red Rock, and he said they have a policy that they got from Marathon, because they're looking into this as well. So we're gonna work on a policy and hopefully get, we know we'll get at least hopefully 2 applications. And if we have a policy ready by September for us, and then we can, put the official call out, and so it looks like we have some interest anyways. And I know that, I did sort of put it out there that we would think about taking on 2 of them, because they like to move in twos, groups of, you know, if they were with a friend.
Yeah.
Sitting here amongst all us older people, then they might feel a little more comfortable in joining up. And then, the bill is in the mail to Red Rock, because I think I've recruited someone for Red Rock too, so. I'm gonna take a cut on that one.
Yeah.
So it was a great visit, the kids were great, and the only question they had for me is, who do you like better, Jack or Sasha? One of the questions they had, but
Wait, what was your answer?
I was very diplomatic, and I said it depends on the day. So,
Poor chick.
so they had some really great questions actually, and, it was that they sort of asked through their teacher, so it was a really good visit. There was something else.
Jefferson Hazel.
That came out of
I
nowhere.
should have said
There you
Hazel,
go.
yeah. There's something else that I wanted to say. Animal waste. I just wanna reiterate for people to please clean up after their animals. I don't know where we are on getting some waste receptacles and bags going for the lookout in the marina and community center ordered, perfect. That was something that was brought up to me, especially on the Mill Road. I guess people take their dogs off leash because we don't have anywhere off leash officially to have dogs run. They take them down there and there's just all kinds of poop everywhere. So yeah,
Is there a fine for that?
there is a fine for it if you can catch them to do it. We should get some DNA,
In
tests.
Kansas, they do that.
Nobody, if
You
you
could
someone
really-
doesn't gets caught.
Oh my goodness, if someone gets caught, yeah, I don't know.
Well, there's enough cameras in town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say, but it's gone. Sorry, yeah, I think that's it. Oh, sorry, there was one- speaking of dogs, I just wanted to talk a little bit about dogs and loose dogs, in town. Dogs do get out sometimes, as we all have, most of us have dogs here, and sometimes they run out and it can't be helped, but. When we have stray dogs that don't have a home and they've just found their way here, or we have people, dog owners.
Abandoned dogs.
Abandoned dogs, or we have owners that have consistently have their dogs not under their control or dog under their control. I just wanna let people know that we're working on it. It's a complicated issue, and I wanted to bring it up because it's not just a Nipigon issue. It's been brought up at our Thunder Bay District Municipal League. All of the communities that belong to that league are having problems because they are too small to have a dog pound, they're too small to have a rescue in town. In the past, you know, we have relied on people who are just animal lovers who would take those animals in. Those people are no longer able to do that, or they're past. So, we're working on it, and, it's difficult, and I know it's a difficult situation, and I've run into them myself a couple of times, different dogs, and it's hard. So I just wanna remind everyone to please try to keep your dogs in your house on a leash, in control at least. Because it's a problem that the animals get hurt. They can hurt other people or other dogs or other animals if they're aggressive. And it's such a problem, and it upsets a lot of people. But we are working on, our bylaw to be able to, make it more robust so that we can enforce it better. And we're also working with the OPP as well to be able to have a process to do that, and it is complicated, so. I just wanted to let everybody know we're working on it. Okay, so with that, we are gonna go in camera. In closed session. And. So who will move this resolution to go into closed session? Counselor Cartwright and Counselor Westhaver. Resolution 2025-135, moved by Counselor Cartwright, second by Counselor Westhaver. Be it resolved that this council now resolve into closed session at 7:56 PM. Under section 239 of the Authority of Municipal Act 2001 to discuss labor relations or employee negotiations. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. All in favor? Opposed and carried. Harper and seconded by who? Counselor Westhaver. So this is resolution 2025-136, moved by Counselor Harper, seconded by Counselor Westhaver. Be it resolved that this meeting resolves into open session at 8:33 PM. All in favor? Opposed and carried. Okay, and then we have, this is that our CEO is authorized to proceed as directed in closed session. Who would like to move this one? Counselor Cartwright, seconded by Counselor Hart. Thank you. Okay, resolution 2025-137, moved by Counselor Cartwright, seconded by Counselor Hart. Be it resolved that the chief administrative officer is authorized to proceed as directed in the in-camera closed session. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. And the next one is that all the readings and whatever, the thing we do every week. Okay, or every meeting. Resolution, you'll hear when I read it out. Resolution 2025-138. Who would like to move this one? Counselor Cartwright, seconded by Counselor Harper. Be it resolved that this council gives 3 readings and approves bylaw number 1989, being a bylaw to confirm the actions of the meetings held on and prior to May 27th, 2025. All in favor? Opposed? Carried? And we have one more. Who would like to move to adjourn this meeting? Counselor Cartwright. Counselor Westhaver. Resolution 2025-139, moved by Counselor Cartwright, seconded by Counselor Westhaver, that this meeting adjourns at 8:35 PM to meet on June 10th, 2025 for the next regular meeting or at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Opposed and carried. Thank you, everybody.